Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today we're looking at the Liong Mah XV, or 15. Alright guys, this knife was put together by Liong Mah to commemorate his 15th year in knife design. And, if you've watched Liong Mah come along, his designs have just gotten better and better, just like anybody else. As they start designing things, they're maybe not so good, and then they get a little better, and then they're like, wow, and then they're like, oh, he's got it now. And there you go. As many of you know, I have carried an Endeavor for the last year. I picked one up from Liong last year at Blade Show. I asked him to give me the one that I should go out and thrash and use and abuse. So he gave me a specific model to do that with. He didn't give it to me, but I bought a specific model from him to do that with, and it has been said that my Endeavor, that is no longer my Endeavor, we'll talk about that, may be the Endeavor that has the most use on it. I doubt that. There's somebody else that used it more than me, but I sent that Endeavor down to my brother Seth at Todd Knife and Tool South, and he's continuing to thrash on that knife and use it every day just like it should be used. And why is that? Because I've got an XV or a 15 right here, and it's time to start on this guy. So let's get a good look at this one. We got a closed length of 5 inches, a handle thickness of 0.54, a closed height way back here of 1.37, and an open overall length of an, oh my goodness, 9.1. A blade length of 3.992. And yeah, I put all the decimals in there that time because it was just funny. And an edge length of 3.965. Again, lots of blade, lots of edge in this guy. And we have a blade stock thickness of 4 millimeters and a rather impressive weight of 4.81 with a grip length of anybody can put their hands around it, 4.1 inches. It is, well, it's just well done. Now we are going to have some Zell would have done it in other ways at the end of this video, so hang on. But we have done all the specs. Let's get a close look at it. We have a nicely milled pivot, very nice collar, and a small pivot screw there in the middle of it. This right here is our stop pin. Why is our stop pin screwed in and not sandwiched in there like all the other stop pins? Well, because we're an integral. We've got the XV or 15 right there. Look at these nice lines coming up here. And then we've got light jumping there that's not going to kill anybody, but looks really nice. We've got kind of a set of hips on this guy. And then we've got these windows, and these windows are interesting. Those windows are cut, milled into. It's not something that's an inset or inlay. Milled into, see? And milled directly through the handle. Pretty fancy milling right there. And there you go. Yeah, you can see down in there where that's milled out. So pretty fancy milling on this guy, and well done. Now our pocket clip, we talk a lot about pocket clips because so many of them are done so wrong. And this one, well, we'll talk about it in the pocket clip section, but it is tip up, left or right. And it does come out, that's pretty good. Look how well they've shaped it to the hips here. Very nice. And I suppose we should do some size comparison because, I'm not sure I've got anything. Well, I do have a U-Shaw over here. That's getting close to the same size, but not quite. And if we're going to do that, I mean, it's the same knife, just a less expensive version, but there's the 617. And let's get some of our standards out here. Here is a Buck 110 and a Delica. Oh, what else do we normally use? There's the Rat. We'll pull the Rat out here. There's a Rat Model 1. And there you go. The Liong Mah 15 is a big knife. And it's a fucking beautiful knife. And let's get a look at the blade, because that's where the beauty really starts to come in. We've got a hollow grind on the piece of S35VN. We've got a flat tip, so it's technically a compound grind. Got nice swedging down both sides. Kind of appears to be milled swedging, but doesn't matter. It's nice and even on both sides. We've got Liong Mah's signature jimping. So that kind of reverse sawtooth jimping that's definitely there, but doesn't tear up my hands anyhow. But you know, look at my thumb. My thumb doesn't count compared to your thumb, most likely. But hand rubbed satin on this particular model, just a beauty in all facets as far as the blade goes. Now, somebody's going to say, how thin is it behind the edge? And you guys know I hate taking that measurement, but we're going to try it. Maybe if I can get the right set of calipers out here. There we go. Okay, that's your behind the edge as best as I can get it. So it's less than 20 thousandths. That's what we're going to call that. So, a cutting machine. Oh, it's just, Liong does such a good job. And we're going to go to our pause and read card before I gush too much more. So let's talk about mechanics. We are ceramic ball bearing, ceramic D10. We have a lock bar oversert, insert, outsert. I don't know what to call that thing, but that's the lock bar interface right there with the blade. And this is, let's do the ergonomics and talk. This is where things get a little bit more serious. You get a hold of this knife. It's got a very simple handle design. You can get a hold of it any way you want to. I mean, you can get way up on there. You can choke up on it. You can get your thumb way up there. Do your push and pulls. Everything works just fine. So, why did I say we had stuff? Well, here we go. It gets interesting. Really interesting. We have this little bump right here. This little rise right here. Perfectly mated up with the blade, as you can see. Perfectly mated up with the flipper tab. And that gives you a place to get a hold of it. And there, I made the camera shake. If you are going to need to take care of that nasty box on your way home, right? Yeah. And this is where we're going to upset a bunch of the sharpening crew. So, we have an edge termination back there that is not what most sharpeners would like to see. However, we're going to talk about why it's terminated like that, or why I believe it's terminated like that. One, it makes for a fairly safe place to choke up on the knife if you're being careful doing small work, while still not running you much further back whenever you're in a normal grip. I appreciate that a lot. So what about this edge termination that all the sharpening guys are going to be all up in arms about? Well, as much as I want that to be a solid termination, here's the thing. If you are on your way home and that nasty box comes out of the corner, comes out of the alley, you know, we've talked about that guy before, and we're not picking on the giant mouse Ace Biblio, but we are going to bring it out here because it is a very good example. So anyhow, you're on your way home, that nasty box comes out of the alley and it's threatening you, and you need to slice some cardboard. If you get a hold of this knife back here, like this, and you slide this knife blade up into that cardboard, your stop on this knife is going to be essentially your handle or your fingers. And that's okay. Whenever you go to pull this knife out, there's nothing to snag it on, so that if you need to slice some more cardboard in a quick hurry, you're in good shape. So, what am I talking about? Alright, so if we got the Ace Biblio, which is a great EDC knife from what I can tell so far, but we run this guy into that box. And now we have this area of unsharpened blade right here that we're trying to pull back out of the box. And if that box has any elasticity to it at all, then we have a problem. We're jerking and that elasticity is letting us pull out on the cardboard, and we're not getting the blade back out, so that if we need to make another slice, need to, reduce our cardboard load down to something more recyclable, we can't do it quite as easily. So even though many of the sharpening guys, including myself, aren't huge fans of that sort of edge termination, that is a very important reason for that sort of edge termination. It causes for just a smoother knife in and out of that cardboard box. And I probably over-explained that, but oh well. Let's grab the Levi's and see what this guy looks like in the Levi's. And there we go. This guy almost completely hides. All you really got sticking up out of there is that little screw right there. And pocket clip's kind of blue, kind of looks like jeans. So you're running around with a little black ball on your jeans all day that people see. Well, maybe not. Maybe they see the clip. But very well done clip. The only thing I will say is right here we could have used just a little more lip on the clip, because in my 511s and in my Carhartts, there's a little bit of problem with getting this down into those. Now it's gotten better as the clip has worked in a little bit and loosened up a little bit, but initially it was nearly impossible. Oh, so did we talk about everything? I think we did. And we're going to gather this up. I'm going to show you while I'm talking here. I'm going to show you the pictures of the other models of this knife. And they start at $500 and they go up to $600. And yeah, this happens to be the $600 one. I think. But here's the deal. I get a knife from Liong pretty much every year. Maybe the first year I went to Blade Show, maybe I didn't, but I have for the past couple of years, and it will probably continue as long as Liong's nice to me and as long as he's got something I'm interested in, which he usually does. And the XV or 15, I know it's a limited edition knife. I know that there's only 300 total of these ever going to be made, and it doesn't matter because Liong has done such a good job of designing a knife that I'm going to carry this just like it was, let's see here, just like it was a $30 Rat Model 2. Why? Because whenever a knife is built properly, whenever a knife is built well, whenever a knife is done so well that there only needs to be 300 of them, and that's kind of a lie, there needs to be a lot more than that. But whenever a knife is done as well as this knife is done, limited edition status, price tags, all that stuff matter very little to me. I'm going to carry the knife. I'm going to enjoy the knife. I'm going to use this knife to take care of all my daily tasks and defend me from that cardboard box if necessary. I applaud Liong for such a really nice design. There are a couple of things that I do want to pick on just a little bit. That flip up there needs to be a little taller, Liong. And I can get myself on the blade right here. It's not bad, but I can. And I know what you were going for with the straight line, but if you had given it just a little bit of an arc, you could have raised that up to where it wouldn't have gotten us. Or, I know you wanted a 4-inch blade, but if we had had a 3.95-inch blade, it wouldn't have gotten me there either. And rounding, you could have called 3.95 4-inch. Not a big deal. That's my opinion on the Liong Mah XV or 15, whichever way you would like to call it. It's a beautiful knife, well done, as always, by Mr. Liong Mah. And I'll be using the heck out of it just like I did the Endeavor. And like I said, my Endeavor is claimed to be one of the most used Endeavors ever. Well, it's continuing to get used. And Liong, if you're listening, I'm going to try to convince Seth. He has the Endeavor right now. I sent it down to him when the 15 showed up, and he is continuing to use that knife and use it hard. And if I can talk him into it, we will bring that knife back to Blade Show 2019, and we'll bring this one back too. You all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.